Hello. In this video, I am going to be talking about the Crimson Isle update. I'm not talking about any of the positives. There is a lot of positives with this update. I'm only going to be talking about the bad things. Keep that in mind. Also, I do have a texture pack on. With the texture pack, my armor doesn't really change color, so it's kind of annoying that dyes don't work with it. It does change a little bit, but not as much. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the texture pack. Anyways, moving on to the video. So I'm going to have this video in a few different sections, just in case you want to skip to points of interest. But the first section is going to be the Crimson Isle. So the first point is now mini boss drops are now worthless. Gauntlet of Contage now sells for 3 million, and it used to sell for around 15 million. That is a very big decrease in price. Now, it's not only the Gauntlet of Contage, it is the Fire Veil, that's also a 3 mil, and the Ragnarok Axe. I haven't seen how low that's dropped down yet, but I do know it's very low. A while ago, I made a video on making 60 million an hour just off grinding the mini bosses in Crimson Isle. It was a very overpowered method, but these drops being added to the bazaar just killed the entire method. Also, I'm not sure why, but the Mage Outlaw RCM has gotten slower. It didn't say anything about it in patch notes, but it just is slower. Now, we're in the Crimson Isle, and I want to talk about the spawn rate. If I was doing Spider Slayer here, this would be extremely slow. Now, if you're one person in here, there is enough mobs to be doing Spider Slayer infinitely. You get enough combat XP, they will spawn fast. The problem is when it's Mayor Aatrox, if there is more than 1 or 2 people here, there is not going to be enough spiders for everyone, meaning everybody with a Hyperion is going to start going back into Spider's Den, and everyone else is going to have to compete with people who have a Hyperion. That is a very rough thing to do. Everyone's been through it. It's just annoying, but that is what's going to happen. So I'm not saying it's been completely killed, because you definitely can farm, like a few people can farm this, but any more than 2, and I just don't think it would be very efficient at all, especially in Aatrox when Burning Desert is already going to have loads of people trying to do their Tarantula Slayer. The next thing I want to talk about is flares. Now, this is just another spawn rate problem, but just look at the flares. There is no flares here because of the spawn rate. There we go, our first flare, second flare's over there, third flare, fourth. You cannot infinitely grind these anymore. Now, I don't have the mage power on right now, but if I was insta-killing these, half of the flare arena it's just empty. There is no flares here. This is really bad. So you can't use flares for vanquishers. It's just not efficient. It'd be better to do it in Burning Desert. And that adds on to the last problem I just talked about. If people are doing flares in the Burning Desert and people are also doing Spider Slayer, that's another problem. Terra Armor has got quite the nerf. Now, it might not seem like it, but the set shoots slower and it shoots less arrows. Overall, the DPS is worse. If you just play an Inferno run, you will see the difference. You need to rend for your P4, or you're going to be doing the runs very slow. It is a huge difference. That ultimately means world record for Kuudra will never be able to be broken again. Another change that is pretty bad. At the end of trophy fishing, you would salvage your set for around 20 diamond magma fish. You cannot salvage your set anymore. It was really nice to know after the hundreds of hours you spend fishing, there is a reward of 750 mil at the end of it. And now it feels like the only reason to trophy fish is for the sole purpose of Skyblock XP. Now I have a few mining changes that I want to go over. First off, Sorrow Armor now has a requirement of Heart of the Mountain 5. I don't know why they felt the need to do this. It seems like they're trying to make early game mining just much slower than it needs to be. And lastly, I want to talk about the best armor set for early game being completely nerfed. The armor set I'm talking about is Mushroom Armour. Now, near enough every bingo player would use Mushroom Armour, and the reason for that was its extra HP during the night. It was a very good perk, but now it only works on the garden. I understand it's a garden set, but the problem is there was no balance at all. The armor set will just never be used the same again. So this is the end of the video. It has pretty much just been me crying about a bunch of the things I don't like about the update. I know, shocking. If you do like any of the things I've talked about in this video, leave it down in the comments. I kind of want to see if you guys agree with the same things I don't like. So if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. See you in the next one.